Good day. My name is Gerald, and I'm here to report the technical context of the entomological placement at the NT Biosecurity of the Department of Industry, Tourism, and Trade here at NT. This is for the SID 500 unit for the Master of Environmental Management course at Charles Darwin University. These are the contents of the presentation. It includes the aim, application process, and further development, about the Berrima farm and its organizational structure, placement overview, technical context, conclusion, references, and acknowledgement. The aim of the project is for me to get back to agricultural research industry after a 16-year gap from my undergraduate degree program, which is Bachelor of Science in Agriculture major in entomology. Furthermore, this is for me to gain relevant experience to later land a job in the same field, which is different from working as an urban pest controller that strictly deals with domestic and peri-domestic pests such as cockroaches, bedbugs, houseflies, among others. Also, agricultural research is aligned and complements the degree of environmental management as consulted with the unit and course coordinators. Next, we'll discuss the application process and further development. The Berrima Research Farm, or simply Berrima Farm, is the anti-government unit for agricultural and biosecurity endeavors. It was initially introduced to me during a field trip from previous semester's unit ENV 501, or Tropical Invaders in Biosecurity, under Professor Natalie Rossiter. I later contacted the entomology section of the department for a placement and research thesis collaboration. Furthermore, after around 2 months of placement work, an opportunity arose for a full-time entomologist wherein my professional portfolio was examined by the host institution and found a strong eligibility for a senior post. For the record, this is the first time that happened for an ongoing placement to be employed by them. This is alongside Australian Homeland Affairs directive to allow international students to work full-time. Furthermore, a consultation with the COO of Anti-Biosecurity as well as to the CDU's course coordinator were done and resulted to a positive feedback. In short, the placement was in a perfect time and place and situation. The steps done during the application is the following. On May, I emailed the anti-biosecurity operations manager, but nothing happened. So I waited for another 3 months and decided to call the entomology section directly and spoken with the principal entomologist itself. In just an hour, he offered an interested advisor. Her name is Praise Tadley, a PhD agricultural research entomologist of his department. After 4 days, a consultation meeting was held with Dr. Praise, and in just 2 weeks, the required documents were being uh, completed between the CDU and anti-government. And on September 19, the placement started and a research thesis topic was identified. After that, on November 8, CDU and anti-biosecurity arranged a meeting to decide if the research thesis topic is acceptable for the master's level and was confirmed positively. On November 17, I was hired as a senior entomologist by the department, which is quite an amazing feat. Now, let's go to the Berma farm. Historically, Berrima Farm was first used as the central biosecurity and quarantine station after the Second World War. It was where initially introduced herds of livestock are being domesticated and crops being cultivated for the territory, and subsequently used as the central experimental station and office till this moment in time. Other satellite areas were later added, such as Catherine and Alice Springs Station. This is the organizational structure of the Department of Industry, Tourism and Trade, or DITT, which houses the Berrima Farm operations. This territory government entity is different from federal government, which manages biosecurity along international borders. Thus, our anti-biosecurity strictly deals with organisms that are already inside the country's area of responsibility. The entity was most recently reorganized and renamed in September of 2020, which manages six industries. Here is a simplified diagram. Among the six industries is the agriculture, fisheries, and biosecurity team, which, as its name implies, deals with agriculture, biosecurity, and animal welfare, or BAO, and fisheries. The entomology section deals or services the initial two sectors, which is agriculture and BAO, and our central office is located here at Berrima. Part 4 includes the context of the placement. It is divided into two. The first one is the job context. Initially, I was doing the placement, which I report only to the advisor. But suddenly, after around 2 months, I am now hired as a full-time entomologist, which which requires me to report also to the principal entomologist. In general, there are two things that I have to do. Number one is extension, and the other one is research. Extension is the engagement with farmers, including farm visits, and we talk about pest management, focusing on judicious pesticide use and the proliferation of biological control agents or the beneficial insects in the field. The other one is about research, yeah, which has three aspects. Number one is the identification of insect pests coming from the community. Next is the monitoring and survey of established and invasive insect species. This includes fall armyworm, Asian citrus psyllid, and tomato potato psyllid, which will also be discussed later on. Lastly, it is about laboratory research works about the control of current pests of natural significance, which includes my thesis at the moment. Let's now go to the technical context of the placement activity. The first thing that I want to discuss is about the importance of job placement in academic setting. According to Ogba et al. 2022, placement or job placements provide opportunities for students to acquire lifelong learning skills, work experience, and exposure to career development opportunities. For me, since I have a 16-year gap when it comes to agricultural research and studies, um, this is an important opportunity for me to fill that gap. Next is the importance of community engagement since it is part of the extension services of anti-biosecurity. According to PEPS of 2006, community engagement is important because it is the right thing to do and it results to better outcomes. Natural resource management is under the realm of science and governance, which both rely on the partnership with the greater society. In effect, the society supports the scientists and experts' disease management programs, while governments implement public policy and regulation and encourage and sustain biosecurity endeavors. Thus, the latter group are responsible for the expenditure of public funds and consequently the public expects programs that deliver growth and development for the society. With this domestic partnership, all stakeholders must be aware of the consequent attached power and responsibilities of each other. In my work right now, since the project is during the mango season. I visited some of the mango farms or mango orchards, and sampling of mango leaves and fruits were done to identify or to monitor pests and natural enemies that are available. Next is the fall armyworm, Spodoptera frugiperda, a newly established pest in corn production here in Australia. This pest is originally from the Americas that has spread to Africa, Asia, and as said earlier, 2 years now in Australia. Fall armyworm or FAO is being studied right now in laboratory, which we have established its initial population since 2021. Furthermore, a survey and identification and mass rearing of natural enemies or biological control agents that could be effective to control them is being done. As of now, we have one wasp that is being studied. It's a parasitic wasp that lays on the eggs of the fall armyworm. This is important to decrease the use of pesticides. Another significant scope of this placement includes the importance of biosecurity in the natural resource management against all other invasive species. Of course, I am not only dealing with the fall armyworm, which is my research thesis with them, but also other dozen of invasive species, including the tomato potato psyllid and Asian citrus psyllids, which are being watched through the traps being delivered to the entomology section from many parts of the NT. These pests include economic and social, as well as environmental aspects that could affect the country. Recently, we have the banana freckles from the pathology department, which has occurred in 2013 to 2018 and reoccurred around 4 months ago here in NT. Moving forward, another technical context of the job includes the importance of judicious pesticide use in agriculture. Similarly, it has also economic, environmental, and social effects to the country. This includes public health, pesticide resistance in pests, crop losses caused by pesticides, bird losses due to pesticides, and groundwater contamination. In this context, a part of my job includes engagement with farmers and consultation about the type and frequency of pesticides applied in the field. The information being gathered during consultations are later reported to the principal entomologist. In conclusion, the identification of proper and relevant placement host requires clear objectives, planning, consultation, and the ability to communicate in a professional manner, as well as effective negotiation skills. Furthermore, the procedure to start a placement may require official documentations that allow policies, duties, and responsibilities to be affirmed by parties involved. This usually takes some time, so we must always have an updated portfolio. Lastly, an ongoing placement has the probability to result to a full-time job. This policy is beneficial for all parties involved since invested training efforts will be of more use, especially if the employee is to be maintained for a longer period of time. These are the references. I would like to acknowledge Professors Lindsay Hartley, Natalie Rossiter, and Penny Worm of CDU, as well as Mr. Brian Thistleson and Praise Tadley of Biosecurity Entomology Section for this opportunity that has given to me. Thank you very much.